Fanfic Corner, presented by Jennifer. First, Omega sat at the bar, keeping herself occupied. Sid was supposed to be watching her, which she always did, but at a distance as she attended to other things. It was a slower day at the parlor. Sid wasn't particularly happy with it, but she was making the best out of the small group of gamblers that huddled around a table. Omega had promised Hunter that she wouldn't participate in any games, even if she could easily get credits, which was tempting. A loud groan was heard coming from Sid as she stormed away from the group with a scowl on her face. "Lose again?" Omega smirked as she sipped her water. Sid slid a coaster just before the clone put her drink back down. "Save it, Tiny." Reaching over, she threw a sponge at the blonde girl, who caught it before it hit her. "I still don't see why Dark and Broody wouldn't let me use you to play," she muttered. "Use?" Sid shook her head dramatically. "You know what I mean. Since you aren't playing, the least you can do for me is clean this stuff, starting with the bar." "Clean?" Omega complained. "Get to work, Tiny. I've got a business to attend to," Sid said as she saw more people enter, leaving Omega alone. Omega grumbled under her breath. If there was one thing she hated more than being left behind on a mission, it was being left behind on a mission to clean a dirty bar. Tech would have vouched for her, saying how the bar was unsanitary for a child to be on cleaning duty. Tech sadly wasn't there, so she didn't have a choice. Omega pouted as she took the brownish-yellow sponge and began wiping down the counters. She would have preferred to be left on the ship than here. As time passed on, more and more people came through the doors. Omega watched as a group of male Twi'lek entered. She didn't think much of it, turning her head back to the table to spray until the last member of the group followed behind. Omega did a double take as she tried to keep her gaze on the boy who was about her age. Not watching what she was doing, she missed the drink that someone had placed on the table. The glass shattered on the ground, breaking into little pieces. "Hey, Tiny, watch what you're doing. Those aren't cheap." Sid poked her head out of the crowd of customers she was with. "Sorry," Omega muttered. "It wasn't my fault. It was whoever." "Need help?" Omega jumped back, startled by the new voice next to her. She swallowed hard as if it was as it was the boy she was staring at not too long ago. Omega couldn't help but notice his penetrating dark brown eyes that stood out against his royal blue dotted skin. Navy dots littered his body in no particular pattern except for his laku. His facial expression was soft as he waited for her response, but the words were stuck in her throat. "Did the glass hurt you?" he asked instead, tilting his head. Omega quickly shook her head, snapping herself out of her trance. "No, I'm fine. I could use some help, I guess." She smiled, holding her hand out firmly as Echo had taught her. "Hi, I'm Omega." The boy returned the smile, taking her hand, to which Omega felt her heart skip a beat. "Nice to meet you, Omega. I'm Arkano." "And nice to meet you too." Omega bit her lip. Was she sounding too formal? Maybe she needed to play it more cool. She didn't know how to, since every time she looked at him, her face heated up. "So, do you work here?" Arkano asked as he began to pick up the larger broken pieces of glass. Omega got on her knees and started wiping up the mess with a towel. "Sid's a friend. I'm staying here till my brothers get back from an errand." "Oh," Arkano said, standing up. "You're staying with your brothers?" "Yep." Omega gave an awkward laugh, wondering what else to say that would be considered weird. Lucky for her, he wasn't finished talking. "That's so cool. I live with my brothers too." "Really?" Omega let out a sigh of relief. At least they had something in common. "What do your brothers do?" she asked as the door opened once more. "They own a chain of Mantel mix stands all over the city." Arkano cleared his throat as he rubbed the back of his neck. "Maybe you'd like to get some with me? If you want. It's no cost to you whatsoever since they own it and all." Omega could feel her cheeks turning a bright shade of pink as she nodded. "I'd like that." "Meg!" Rucker shouted as he ran over to her. As much as she loved him, she wished she had a little more time alone to get to know Arkano. "Hey, Rucker." Omega wondered if Arkano thought her brothers would be like, well, clones. Rucker wasn't always the brightest, but he could always tell when someone was embarrassed. Omega, having never encountered certain feelings, wasn't the best at hiding it. Rucker saw his chance and took it. "Who's your friend?" He raised an eyebrow, looking at Omega with a smirk on his face. Omega gave him a stern look before answering. "Rucker, this is Arkano." She then turned to the boy. "This is my brother, Rucker." Arkano, being the polite person he was, greeted Rucker with another handshake. "That's a cool name you have," he said with a grin. Rucker shook the boy's hand roughly. "Thanks, kid. I see why you like him, Megs. He's nice." "Rucker!" Omega shouted, feeling beyond embarrassed now. "I think Hunter wants to leave." She scooted towards the others as Rucker waved goodbye to her new friend. "Wait, Omega!" Arkano caught her by the arm, handing her a slip of paper. "Call me when you want to take me up on that Mantel mix. I'll make the time whenever." Omega blushed. "I will, thanks." Arkano's brother signaled for him. He gave her one last glance before leaving. Omega finally couldn't contain her excitement. She let out a squeal of joy as she jumped up and down. Hunter came rushing over. "Omega, what is it?" The look of concern faded when he noticed a huge smile on her face. "I met a guy and he's really nice." She decided to leave the good-looking part out. "Hunter, can I hang out with him tomorrow? Please. Hunter didn't expect that. He didn't even know where to begin. Too much had happened while they were out on a short mission. Omega seemed happy, though. She never got to hang out with people her age, and this boy seemed to have gained her attention for reasons he wasn't sure about. I'd have to meet his father, or whoever's in charge, first of all, Hunter said with hesitance. I'll think about it, Omega. It's been a long day. Why don't we get back to the Marauder? Omega groaned. She should have asked someone else. Tech strolled over, giving her a questioned look. Are you all right, Omega? Your face appears more flushed than normal. Are you coming down with an illness? I'm fine, Tech. Just... Omega's got her first crush. Wrecker slapped her on the back. Not hard enough, but enough to make her stumble. Wrecker, I do not, she huffed. Tep mouthed an O. He pushed his goggles up as he gave her a small grin. I see. Good luck in getting that past Hunter, he said as they walked out of the bar, leaving the two remaining clones. Let her go, Hunter, Echo chuckled, seeing the look on the sergeant's face. She's a kid who's about to be a teenager soon. Let her live a bit. She's getting that old, huh? Hunter didn't want to admit it, but maybe it was the reason he wasn't so keen on her hanging out with that boy. He still saw her as his little girl. Can't keep him young forever. Echo clasped his shoulder. Trust her, Hunter. She's a smart kid. She'll make the right choices. Hunter silently agreed. He would let her go, but he was still going to have a talk with the kid's guardians, and perhaps send Tech on a supply run during the time Omega would be gone as well. She would forever and always be his kid,